Hey, so I just watched To All the Boys I've Loved Before on Netflix, and I have some feelings about it, so I thought we could chat. Now, I was very excited about this movie because I love the book so much. I was legitimately counting down the days until this came out on Netflix, and I didn't go into it with that high of expectations because Netflix movies are kind of hit and miss, but I can't say that I was disappointed, really. If you haven't watched the movie or read the book, To All the Boys I've Loved Before is a story about a girl named Laura Jean Covey, and when she has a really big crush on a boy, she writes a love letter to him, and she doesn't send them, but it's just kind of like a way for her to like work through her feelings or whatever. Particularly, she writes a love letter to her best friend, who happens to be her sister's boyfriend. And one day, letters mysteriously get sent out to all the boys that she's written letters to. I think she wrote 5. She ends up doing some things that she didn't entirely think through in order to convince this boy, Josh, her sister's boyfriend, that she doesn't really love him. And then the book goes on from there, complications and whatever. I have to say, I still like the book better than the movie, but I did really enjoy the movie. If I had to give it a rating out of 10, I'd probably give it like a 7. I'm not going to be going too into the book in this video. This is really just like a film review. So if you just want to watch the movie, that's cool too, but the book is really good. So if you watch the movie and really like it, just the book is also fantastic. So that's all for like the non-spoiler section. So if you haven't watched it, go do that and come back and we can chat. I do like to pick apart movies, so I have a lot of negative things, but I'm gonna try and keep it positive because I did actually enjoy the movie. I love nitpicking things, and it's just the way I am. The thing I was most worried about with this film was that it was going to have like a weird Netflix movie vibe. Netflix originals sometimes have this like they're trying to be super trendy or something. They have like weird slang that they just add in. I don't know if they're trying to be relevant or what, but they have this like really weird vibe to them. And I was really worried that they were going to do that because my favorite part of To All the Boys I've Loved Before was the beautiful, warm, fuzzy feeling it gave me when I read it. It made me want to like curl up in a blanket and watch a rom-com or like bake cookies or something. And luckily the film gave me the same kind of feeling. Most of the time the film was okay, but there was like kind of like a weird something that happened in some of the shots. I had a couple of things that I wrote down that I thought it might be, and I don't know enough about films to say that it was definitely one of these things, but like I think it's called reverse shot editing. It like switches back and forth between the two people when they're having a conversation. I'm not sure if the camera was like too straight on and it wasn't at enough of an angle, and it kind of looked like a documentary, like they were interviewing the characters instead of them having a conversation. Some of the shots had like too shallow of a focus and it made it look more like it was green screened. I think some of the shots maybe had like a fisheye lens that made it seem kind of wonky. In some of the shots there was just something a little bit off about it. The film starts out in kind of like a weird field, and Laura Jean is narrating this love story, and it turns out that she's reading a book, and I love it when characters are readers. I relate to them so much more. And then Kitty interrupts her. I remember in the book I didn't really like Kitty all that much, but in the film she was so cute. I loved her personality, and her and Peter are always so adorable. Oh my god. I love the fact that Laura Jean high-fives people. I remember when I was little, I used to really like attention. I mean, I still really like attention. And one of the things I did, my family had gone over to Vancouver once, and I just like went around and asked strangers for high fives. I can't remember how I got so bold, but it just reminded me of that weird time where I got like 50 high fives in a day from like cashiers and stuff. So Laura Jean starts her fake relationship with Peter. I thought it was cute how their fake relationship and their real relationship started in the same spot on the lacrosse field. I don't really have anything else to say about that point. I just liked it. I like how even when they were fake dating, they would still act like they were dating even when no one else was around. He like actually took her to eat food after the party, and like they actually watched movies with Kitty! In a lot of these like fake relationship movies, they tend to have the main characters be really mean to each other. Like they have to secretly hate each other to make good tension or something. It just made them falling in love so much more realistic. Laura Jean has this thing when she's fantasizing that she has this pretend fantasy Josh, and I was never really sure whether Josh was fantasy Josh or real Josh. Like when she was talking to him in the hallway about her relationship issues with Peter, it felt so out of place that she would talk to him about Peter that I was honestly convinced she was talking to fantasy Josh in the middle of the hallway. So they go on a ski trip. Laura Jean doesn't go skiing. I wish she would have. Skiing is fun. It makes me want to go skiing. I love skiing. Holly, if you're watching this, let's go skiing. She does like Korean face masks with Luca. They were talking about how Laura Jean would have never been with Peter if the letters hadn't been sent out. But they should have also mentioned Lucas, because Lucas was so sweet, and I don't think they were friends before he got that letter from her. Good on you, Kitty. Speaking of, I don't know why Laura Jean didn't realize it was Kitty that sent the letters. Margot was in Scotland. Her dad had no idea what was going on. Who else did she think it would be? Did she think someone broke into her house and only took her love letters and just mailed them? Obviously it was Kitty. Then at the end she goes back to the lacrosse field and she drives. I know she was a bad driver in the book, but I don't think she was afraid of driving. But I thought it was like a nice addition to her character. I thought it really kind of matched her personality and it worked really well with the story. One of the biggest things for book to film adaptations for me is the casting, because you know, I imagine the characters in my own head and I don't really want them to be messed up by having real people. And I thought for the most part they did really well. I think the only character that I didn't really like the actor for was Margot. I thought that her actress looked a little bit old. Janelle Parrish was born in 1988. So that makes her like 30 years old, right? Well, I would have liked it if they had casted more of like a young 20s actress, closer to Margot's real age. I think that's about all I have. I've been talking for like half an hour, so this is gonna be fun editing. I have been Sarah Hampton. This has been a review of the film adaptation of To All the Boys I've Loved Before, and I will talk to you next time. Bye. Cheers.